Okay, so time to do a bit of trauma center, or trauma team. Let's finish off the locked room. It's about time I work on part 3 of this. Also, sometimes this main background here changes, like sometimes you'll see butterflies, or sometimes you'll see the masked prisoner himself.
Seriously? What do you guys want? I've got work to do, so let's get this over with. Huh? Dennis? You mean Dennis Taylor? Wow, that name brings back bad memories. We broke up years ago. Yeah, at first I thought he was an interesting guy, pretty cool and all, but he never had a job and he just kind of wandered through life. Oh, but he always had money. I'm sure he didn't come by it honestly.
Yeah, nothing subtle there.
Oh, but are you really this drugs?
Yep, he's a drug dealer.
You worked for this big fish called Theodore.
I wonder who Theodore is.
You worked for and that was it? I broke up with him. I mean, dealing drugs? That's way too dangerous for me. Who knows? I assume he's still out there dealing. I mean, I can't do anything to stop him.
Yeah, there's a chance that he's still dealing drugs when he died, or there was a suspicious white powder all over the floor.
I mean, I can't do anything to stop him. Huh? He died? When?
Yep, that's enough of that.
All right, let's go over the information we've gathered. First, the white powder.
It's definitely not any of these. Drugs?
Yes, the trail of drugs led directly to the hole behind the shelf. If the same powder from the floor was inside the hole, then...
It definitely wasn't that. He definitely wasn't thrown away, so he was for sure. The killer's secret escape route, really. Some of these are
That's right.
hilarious.
But there weren't any drugs inside the hole. The layer of drugs had footprints from the firefighters, the police, and me left in them. All of the footprints had something in common.
They were made after the fire? Yeah, they were made after the fire. Right, yeah.
Indeed. There weren't any footprints from before the time the fire began.
Which means if there had been, then his footprints would be there too, Mr. Dennis Taylor's footprints. Meaning, whoever might have killed him or however he died.
So from this, we can deduce that the drugs must have been scattered on the floor when...
Scattered after the fire? No, they weren't sitting there for days. Scattered just before the fires, I think. I mean, I would hope you did not. Yeah.
Yes. If I take this even further, I'd say that it would have been after Mr. Taylor stopped moving.
Yeah.
In other words, it must have happened between his death and when the fire started. But
Precisely.
why were there drugs on the floor?
Somebody killed him to get the drugs. Darn. Because when he took them, got them. Yeah. No. fingerprints already.
Yes, they must have spilled out when someone removed the drugs from the hole in the wall. Dennis Taylor was killed, and someone walked out with the drugs. I'm starting to get a clearer picture of what happened here, but there's no proof just yet. I need to move on to the next step. I should consult with the little guy about this.
I think that means I click on it, yes?
Dr. Kimishima, have you confirmed that it's a murder after all?
I don't know how you heard about that so quickly, little guy. Have you been eavesdropping on me?
Huh? What? No,
Forget it. I can see right through you.
oh, right, I have a new tool for you. It's luminol. Do I need to explain it to you?
A chemiluminescent material based on reducing 5-nitrophthalhydrazide with sodium dithionite.
Basically, it shows up blood and smears and bleach from cleaning supplies, sperm, I think. Basically bodily fluids or cleaning chemicals.
It reacts to iron and hemoglobin by glowing, making it useful to find otherwise hidden bloodstains. Anything else?
No.
Good. I just spray this onto suspicious areas, then shine the ALS on it, right? I'm sure it will be useful. Thank you, little guy.
Okay. I don't think I can combine any more of these, or can I? Let me just review
I still have doubts. My main concern about this is...
It was the middle of a heat wave, and he was fixing the heater. And also, he's a repairman, so why the heck was the fan bent? Friction, air circulation. I think it's this one. I mean, you can do both, I think. Okay, air circulation it is. Alright then. I mean, personally, I think it does. I mean, I've got my fan on high like 100% of the time.
Concentrate. Yes. Fans circulate air within a room.
And make it cooler.
If the owner was having his air system fixed, the fan should have been considered part of it. Why then would the electrician fix only the heater and not the ceiling fan?
Unless it was broken after the guy left. Let's see.
So there were blood stains here too. If these are from the deceased, we may be able to use this with something else that we know. There's a reaction to blood on this screw that's securing the doorknob. The screw seems rather loose as well. Come to think of it, the door to this room was chained shut when the fire started. Could this be related to that in some way? There's a rope wrapped around the shaft of the ceiling fan. There's no mistake. Those are bloodstains.
Sorry for the wait. The analysis of the burnt material has come back from the laboratory. Calcium hydroxide was detected in the sample.
I don't remember what that is.
Calcium hydroxide? You mean slaked lime?
Yes, small amounts of quicklime were also detected.
Oh yeah, that stuff that heats really quickly in water? I think?
Quicklime is a substance that releases a great deal of heat when it reacts with water.
Huh, I see. So this was...
Start the fire. Really? It wasn't useful for that or that. I guess he could break the finger. I mean, if it was just the bone and he was like breaking it, but...
I agree, but isn't it odd? If the killer wanted to start a fire, there are far easier ways to go about it.
You're right. There must have been a reason for this. It's our job to investigate that, isn't it?
Okay. Ashes have become burnt chemicals.
That's right. There were 2 different bloodstains left in the deceased's room. Now, which of these bloodstains happened first?
I mean, obviously, critical thinking would imply the larger one. 'Cause, I mean, if that kind of a cut was on the wrist and it was really, really deep, there would be a lot of blood pouring out fast, so I would think the larger one would happen first. In this one.
That's true, unless the corpse got up and walked over by itself.
I mean, with that much blood loss, there would be like smearing or like a trail.
It's most likely that the deceased died where the first bloodstains were found, and then was carried to the bed afterwards. That would explain why there was such a small amount of blood on the bed itself. It's true then. This does have to do with the victim, but I wonder why. I get the feeling that there's something very wrong about this.
Definitely isn't nothing at all. His behavior, the garden quality room. The guy is definitely dead, so it's gotta be his behavior. Dennis the Pusher.
Indeed. At first glance, it doesn't seem like these refer to the same person at all.
Onions could certainly different.
On the one hand, drug-dealing scum enjoying his life. On the other, a man with suicidal depression. Either one of these clues is false, or there's more to this shady business that I haven't found out. In either case, the truth of the matter is that he was indeed a drug dealer.
Dr. Kimishima, we've identified the blood on the screw. It's a DNA match with the victim, Dennis Taylor. Why would his blood be there, of all places?
It's simple. What happened was...
He was transferred. Definitely not that. Okay, I would have to think it's blood splatter or it was touched it. This? Oh.
Concentrate.
It's true. It touched the murder weapon. Wait. If that's on the screw then, the murder weapon was a screwdriver?
That's right. It's probably because it touched the murder weapon.
Wait, why would the killer touch that screw with the murder weapon?
He would have to, if the weapon was...
A screwdriver. I mean, I guess you could use a box cover to unscrew something. Same with a kitchen knife. I mean, I've done that before when I couldn't find the appropriate screwdriver with the right head. So, I mean, it's definitely possible, but the most likely option is a screwdriver. That's an interesting looking nail. It's kind of a star or flower. Nail.
Yes, a screwdriver. It was likely used to both loosen and tighten that screw.
I see. Then the screwdriver left the blood on the screw while he was covering his tracks.
So let's see. It didn't break the fan. Oh, of course it broke it. So does that mean I combine these?
Yes, these two pieces can be the rope wrapped around the ceiling fan is what caused it to break.
Now the only question in mind remains is why
The
did it
question
break?
now is why there was a rope around it in the first place.
Who put this? Did he have any stab wounds? No, but he did have a weird shaped bruise.
Yes, these pieces of information are hiding an important fact. I didn't notice because the bleeding had stopped completely, but this isn't a bruise. It's a stab wound. This strange
Ouchies.
pattern here is likely...
From the hilt. Screwdriver handle. It's definitely not show force of will.
Yes, that's right. It's indisputable evidence that the weapon was jammed in so deeply that the grip left a bruise.
Again, ouchies. Okay.
What's this? It just looks like a loose screw to me.
Think harder, little guy. How was the room when the firefighters arrived at the scene?
Oh yeah, I guess it is possible that if it's a chain type of lock, yeah, you could just reach in and re-screw it back in. But like there are other ones, like the door knocker kind, where it's got like a little latch that clamps over some sort of little hook thing. When we got locked out of the house, there is no way we could undo that, even when it was closed like as far as possible.
The entrance was closed, but was it completely inaccessible?
Nope. Locked only by the chain. Yeah, because it was not deadbolted.
That's right.
If it had been
The
deadbolted...
chain on the door had been attached, but the door itself wasn't locked.
Exactly.
Sorry, but the door only opens about 15 centimeters with the chain attached.
That's more than enough to reach an arm in and re-screw it. I mean, I guess it depends on how big your arm is. But
child could get through a space that small.
They don't have to, you just gotta reach an arm.
You're so unimaginative. Flex your mind and think about it. Listen to me. What I'm trying to tell you is...
They weren't using that. They weren't using that. Jump kicking through, no. I know, maybe personally, that one would have looked easier to reattach. I mean,
This
personally?
loose screw tells us everything. With the screw removed, the entire plate on the door can be swiveled around by the doorknob.
Yeah.
The plate itself is about 20 centimeters long, so the gap increases to almost 35 centimeters.
Right, yeah.
How big does somebody have to be that he couldn't fit through a space that size?
Oh, I see now. That's more than enough room to get past the door.
I don't remember what that is in inches.
So the killer just screwed the plate back on from the outside after he left the room then.
Yep.
I think that's the most likely explanation. But the killer was in plain sight once he was outside the door. He wanted to finish quickly.
Oh, I think Mom said that's 5'6", but wait. 35 centimeters to inches. Okay, so that's about a foot then. Alrighty, yay.
33 centimeters. That's about 1 foot long. 1.1
The killer couldn't completely tighten the screw and left the area as we found it.
Wow. That proves that this isn't quite the locked room mystery we thought it was.
Huh. Still, this doesn't help us figure out who the killer is. I need to investigate the situation in more detail.
Let's see. What else let's see. This explains the eye abnormalities. Okay, so I can finally put these two together.
Yes. These do lead the way to a definite truth. Looking at the location of the bruise, the tip of the screwdriver must have pierced Dennis's lung. His lung would then rupture, causing pulmonary emphysema, and he would have suffocated. This explains the spots of hemorrhaging in the corpse's eyes. What actually happened that day is slowly coming to light now.
Indeed. Okay, let's see. Breaking the fan. Okay, let's see. Injured hand. Perhaps the killer stood on his finger somehow or damaged the body. Let's see. Dennis died of suffocation after his lung was punctured. What did the killer do with the corpse afterwards? Move it to the bed.
Yes. These two can tell us how the murder happened. On the day of the incident, the killer came to the victim's room and stabbed him in the torso. The murder weapon was...
A screwdriver. Nice pick. Well, I mean, that would certainly get the job done too. Same for any of these.
Yes. The screwdriver pierced the victim's lung, causing pulmonary emphysema. This caused respiratory problems due to lung failure. Thus, the cause of death was...
It was not electrocution, blood loss, falling to death, really. Asphyxiation.
After this, the killer moved the victim to the bed. This is most likely because...
To make it look like suicide. To let him die in comfort, definitely no. To get him out of the way, also a possibility, but... No, definitely not that. I mean, you could, but I mean... Technically staging a murder as a suicide is sort of artistic expression. Maybe?
Indeed. The murderer then arranged the corpse to make the death appear to be a suicide. That is what I believe took place, according to the evidence we have gathered.
Alright, what's left is broken finger, burnt chemicals.
The fire began near the fallen table. Calcium hydroxide was found in the substance on the floor there. Calcium hydroxide is formed through the reaction of quicklime and water.
Wait, is quicklime found in cement? No, I don't. Wait, why would a handyman have access to that? Or was it in the killer's room? Was that what he was using to make drugs out of?
That reaction creates something else as well.
Fire. He just created.
Yes. Quicklime releases 65 kilojoules of energy per mole when it reacts with water.
Apparently you can make a heating blanket that way. You put some of those little capsule-y pill thingies in a baggie, and then you put that baggie in another one of water. Apparently it doesn't even have to be touching the water to make like a little
This was the method used to start the fire in this room. First, you would place a glass of water on the table. You would also put quicklime around the floor and on the table near the glass. When the table falls over, the hydration heat caused by the reaction would cause a fire. But why would the killer go through such a complicated plan to start a fire?
To delay when the fire started. Without smart ones, I mean, that's an option. That's just how he rolls. No. to get in time, I guess, maybe to rescrew.
That's right. If all he wanted was a fire, he could have just set something on fire.
Exactly.
The killer needed to have a delay until the fire began. That's why he devised a plan that made use of two components.
The ceiling fan and the rope. Willpower and pyrokinesis. No.
Yes. This trick relied on the ceiling fan and a rope. The killer wrapped one end of the rope around the fan and tied the other to a table leg. When the fan activated according to its timer, the fan wound the rope up, flipping the table over and spilling the water onto the quicklime. However, there's still one basic question left to be asked. Why did the killer have to set the room on fire in the first place? Why go through this extravagant setup to make it happen? The reason for that is
to destroy the body, I would think. So Dennis's body would be found. But why would they want the body to be found? I have to assume logically that he would want the body found. Why?
exactly.
Figure that out.
Due to the fact that there was nothing flammable added to the body itself.
Yeah. There's no way, if you wanted to get rid of the body would also be
The
flammable.
culprit never intended for the corpse and the evidence to be destroyed in the fire. Instead, the killer wanted to cause a commotion that would draw attention to the corpse. Now then, why would that be?
Because he's a drug dealer. To create an alibi, to destroy the ceiling fan, nope, to taunt the police. He felt pity for Dennis. Oh, but also no.
That's right. By delaying the start of the fire, the plan was to have enough time to create a viable alibi for when the fire began.
Yeah, because, like, I don't know when that fire happened. I was all the way halfway across town fixing some other person's heating and air.
It's easy. I mean, with this method of misdirection, the culprit could start a fire hours after having left the crime scene entirely.
Exactly.
This is the entire truth behind this mysterious arson.
Changed clothes. Being stabbed, but is there any damage to his clothing from it? Well, I mean, there is a broken finger. Okay. Wait, hold up. Let me say. Victim's cause of death. Maybe I should go check personal effects once more. Okay. There's something I have to check. Okay, well the shirt is white, not red. Is anything? Oh yeah.
This is odd. There's something missing that should be here. If the puncture wound in the abdomen is the true cause of death, right. There should be blood stains in a hole where the screwdriver went through his clothing.
There is not. So it was changed. There's no damage or blood on the victim's clothing from the wound she was absent, so...
Yes, these pieces of information can tell us something. According to Mr. Taylor's friend, on the day of the incident, Dennis had been wearing
a red t-shirt. Or was it a red sweatshirt? I feel like the shirt he was describing would actually be a red sweatshirt, not a t-shirt.
That's right.
It was more like a
He was
jersey.
supposedly wearing a red Portland Jacks t-shirt that day. But when his body was discovered, it was wearing
A plain white t-shirt. A white shirt or a white t-shirt? Okay, white t-shirt because that's longer. Excuse me? Okay. I thought shirts were the ones that were this length only, but I guess it's
I
a
can't
white
mess
shirt.
around anymore. It's time to get serious.
Okay.
Yes. His corpse was found wearing a white shirt. In other words, his clothing had changed. And yet, if that was all we know, we couldn't rule out if the deceased had changed his shirt himself. However, if he had, there would still be a discrepancy. I can't make any more rash decisions. I need to
Yes,
think
I know,
cautiously.
I'm aware. Shush you! No indication of a stab wound.
Yes, the corpse had a wound that wasn't reflected by the state of the clothing it was wearing. There's only one answer to this puzzle, and that is...
The killer changed
I
him.
can't make any more rash decisions. I need to think cautiously.
Shush, Naomi! The killer made Dennis change? No. Well, he definitely wasn't naked. The killer changed his clothes. I mean, we didn't find the shirt, so it's presumed that it's either in the trash or the killer did also steal his shirt.
Indeed. Whoever had killed Mr. Taylor replaced the shirt he was wearing after killing him. The reason for doing that was, I can't make any more rash decisions. I need to think cautiously.
Oh my God, Naomi, be quiet, please. To steal his lucky shirt to make it look like a suicide.
Exactly. It was probably to hide the stab wound and make us believe the cut wrist was the cause of death. The killer staged the suicide in order to mislead us.
Let's see, what does this say? There must be a clue somewhere. So do something to break it. Well, these are the only two things left. So I would think.
I see. These two are related. There are no vital reactions to the broken finger. That means the damage occurred after death.
So the finger was broken when he was trying to get the arm in the shirt? Really?
Considering that the killer must have changed the victim's clothing after death.
How much pound per pressure does it take to break a little finger bone? I feel like that guy must have been really forceful shoving it into that shirt. I mean, to break that finger, the pointer finger, I mean the pinky finger, I could understand.
I can't make any more rash decisions. I need to think cautiously.
It was broken while changing. It's not hard to put like arms in a hole. I mean, if you've ever helped a person, like a sibling, a friend, or parent or whatever change, I mean,
That's right. The killer broke the corpse's finger while changing the shirt on the body.
Yeah, the guy must have stepped on his finger or something.
Dr. Kimishima, how's the investigation going?
I've almost uncovered the deception, but the truth hasn't completely been revealed.
I see. So we can't arrest the culprit yet?
That's right. I need conclusive evidence that can help us identify the killer.
The most reliable giveaway would be if we could find a fingerprint at the crime scene. However, only the victim's fingerprints were found when HQ searched the room.
I'm not surprised, considering the lengths the killer's gone to hide his tracks.
Oh wait, I think I know. Okay, well, if... The only places I can think of where there would be a fingerprint is perhaps on one of the screws, like, or on the doorknob, or upon entering, and also the shirt, because, like, I mean, if the killer was wearing gloves, that would make it hard to change a person.
The murderer was probably wearing gloves while the crime was being committed.
Huh. Isn't there anything the killer might have touched?
Something that would require him to take his gloves off? It's hard to think of anything.
Well, the best evidence would be on a hard, slick, inorganic substance. It doesn't matter what size it is.
All we can investigate are the crime scene, the corpse, and what the corpse was wearing. Could there be anything among those items that the killer touched with a bare hand? I'll have to investigate further. Thank you, little guy.
I want to go to the button because, I mean, if you've ever been in a place that's cold and tried to button something up while wearing mittens, buttoning something up is pretty difficult. I mean, it's still possible, I mean, if the buttons are big enough.
The killer put this shirt on the victim's corpse after the murder took place. That would mean that the killer would have had to button the shirt up as well. Buttoning up a shirt with gloves on is no easy task.
Yeah.
If my predictions are correct,
Find a fingerprint on this for me, would
The
you?
buttons on the victim's clothes, huh? I'll look into them right away. One moment, please.
hopefully this will help us find the identity of our mystery murderer.
Dr. Kimishima, it was there. I found it. There's a fingerprint from someone who isn't the victim. It's, a right thumb.
How can you tell it's a right thumb?
Great. Run the print through the list of registered offenders immediately.
Leave it to me. Such an attention to detail has gone into this. It can't possibly be a first-time offender.
Yeah.
There has to be a match for this fingerprint in our records.
I sincerely hope so. This case should be over soon.
Hoorah! Yeah. Conclusion reached. Wait, what did he say his boss's name was again? Oh, I love this music so much.
The dead shall speak. Let's put together the truth of what happened here.
God, this music is beautiful.
The victim in this case is 30-year-old Dennis Taylor. As there's no motive for murder, it's a suspected suicide. However, the victim had a hidden other side. This card is the one with proof of that.
Do I go with missing drugs or... Yeah.
I can't mess around anymore. It's time to get serious.
Excuse me? Dennis the pusher, yeah.
Yes. While he did work at the bar, he also dealt drugs. This case is related to the victim's drug activities. The proof of that is on this card.
Okay, now I choose the hole, apparently. That's proving that the drugs were the motive behind this murder is the missing drugs.
Indeed. The drugs hidden behind the shelf were missing. The killer went into Taylor's room to kill him for his drugs. The real cause of the victim's death can tell us that.
Personally, if I were
I know
drug
that
dealer,
because of this card.
which I'm not. I'm just saying, the drugs aren't worth my life. I would just hand them over like, hey bro, you don't gotta stab me for them. You just take them and leave, and like, we call it a truce, huh? Let me see, is this... No, not that. Natural cause of death for the victim in this case. Not that. Killer's the timer. Not that. Murder timer.
Right.
Yep.
The wound on the wrist was not the true cause.
That's the wrong
Next,
wrist.
the killer disguised the murder as a
It was that
suicide.
wrist.
This card proves the misdirection used to hide the murder.
The evidence proving the steps have been taken to camouflage the body are... Step by remote. To camouflage the body. Okay, camouflage the body means... I probably should say before this. This?
Yes, the appearance of suicide covered up the real cause. The next topic is the secret hidden in the room itself. The murderer used a trick to create a locked room mystery. It was made to seem as if the victim was the only one there. This card shows the trick that had been used. Exactly. The killer thought this would clear his trail. And yet, the culprit had one more way to hide from suspicion. That was to hide when the murder itself took place.
And that was by using the
This
ceiling
card
fan.
shows how he went about that ruse.
How do you know it was a he and not a she? The fire.
The murder took place 3 hours prior to the fire's start. It's natural to assume that if the room was locked, then the crime and the fire would be at the same time.
Yes, but there's a timer.
The
on
plan was
wall.
perfect. No fingerprints were left in the room.
But actually,
However, there
yeah.
was one thing the killer hadn't counted on. There was one task he needed to remove his gloves to do.
Rookie mistake, guys.
This card is evidence of that task. He probably couldn't button the clothes with his gloves on. No matter how small the buttons, there were still prints.
Mhm.
Even a fragment of a fingerprint can be used to identify him. The victim must have been surprised. After all, he thought the killer was a customer. This is what he said at the very end.
Stop! You... No!
The final flickers of this soul's light show me the truth. Who's there?
I'm sorry. I must have surprised you.
You're that electrician. Why are you here?
Oh, I was called up because a switchboard blew. I need to have it fixed by tomorrow.
lying SOB.
I see. That sounds difficult.
Ha!
Freeze. Don't move. I see corpses all day. One more won't bother me.
Big old middle finger to that guy.
Naomi! Are you hurt? I'm sorry. I should have stayed.
I've solved the case. I'll give you my report tomorrow.
The report can wait. Naomi, you must think of your safety.
Nobody lives forever. Even if I died today, it'd just be earlier than I expected.
No, that was the locked room mystery. Seems the next one is the wandering girl. I think for reasons I should start with Tomoe first and then go to Gabe. Like, for continuity's sake, even though the game doesn't tell you the correct order to play it, and you kind of are forced to play it in a certain way, I think if this is the surgery I think it is, I should start with this and then go to Gabe.
Everything has been prepared for your departure, Lady Tomoe.
Very good. Hanzo, go on ahead and wait for me there.
As you wish.
By the 8 million gods that exist to protect this world, I, Tomoe, daughter of Tachibana, shall heed the path of honor. Let the heavens be my witness.
Have a wonderful day, Lady Tomoe.
Insecure smiles. I think this episode is smack in the middle.
Hey, Tomoe!
Oh, good morning, Maria. Today's a fine day, don't you think?
Yeah. Hey, aren't you on night shift today? You're here early.
Yes, Joshua's operation has been scheduled for today.
Oh, Gabe's son, right? I completely forgot.
It is only an ulcer treatment, so I'm sure it'll go smoothly.
Cool. I'll go in too as your support, okay?
Oh, but you can't, Maria. Didn't you work here overnight? You need to rest.
I'll be fine. This is why I work out. Just let me grab a shower.
Maria!
She was trying to tell you nicely she doesn't want you there, Maria. Take a hint, please.
Oh well. Refusing a friend's kindness is not the way of honor. Hanzo, please make the preparations for the operation.
Certainly, my lady.
Wait, can the butler really do clean scrubs, not sterile, not
We will now
sterile.
begin treating the ulcer using the endoscope.
We're ready,
Let's
Doctor.
do this! Hanzo, my instruments, please.
As you wish.
Holy moly, what is that?
Ninja Butler. Or
This
wait,
is Lady Tomoe's personal endoscope, built to her orders. The grip is boxwood, embellished with golden bellflower.
extra. Very
Built
extra.
to order? You had an endoscope made just for you?
The Path of Honor demands that I use the best tools I can. Gold is non-toxic. Also, it is thinner, thus less intrusive.
Unless the person has a gold
Still,
allergy.
to shell out the cash for your own endoscope?
And now, let us get this conference underway.
I feel like she
Maria,
should wear
where
gloves,
are Joshua's
though.
parents today?
Huh? Oh, his mother can't be here because of work. His father, he works here. We've got written consent.
I see. Then I presume there are no further hurdles.
Oh, that's sad. No one's there for him.
The Path of Honor demands we save this child's life.
Right.
Okay, so he's 10 years old. Okay. The secret lies within. I can't tell you how much I absolutely hate, and I mean this, hate endoscopic surgery
Well
so
then,
much.
let's begin the operation. Please do your best.
Oh, God, I hate these. But you know what? This is the beginning, so it's gonna be easy and mostly fine, but it gets, like, really creepy really quick. And it's not just because I'm, like, staring down the void of somebody's bowels, like, endoscopic is no fun, I'm sorry.
The view ahead is clear. The patient seems to be in good condition. Let's move the camera and take a look around.
Okay. Alrighty.
It's responding quickly. Next, let's move it forward.
I heard we can do it quickly. Let's see. B and shove forward. Okay. Yep, so like, just go. Just. Yeah, should we use the white
Gently
grass?
as the drifting waters. Now let's try pulling it back. This truly is a quality machine. I have to thank whoever built it. Well, the endoscope seems to be working fine. Let's begin the actual procedure.
I would think you would test the endoscope before putting it in a patient, but maybe medical practice works differently here.
First, we must locate the affected areas. Let's move forward until we find them.
Why isn't there an auto forward button?
These are blood pools. Let's treat them using the drain. Let's place the drain's tip in the blood pool to drain it. Let's continue draining it until the blood pool disappears completely. The blood pool has been treated. Let's continue with the operation. Excuse me. I need to use caution with the controls.
Sorry about that, kid.
Vitals are still dropping. We must hurry and find the affected area.
Whoa, bumping into the inner wall can harm the patient. Be careful, okay?
Yeah, another reason I hate endoscopic. Oof, ouchie.
This forceps.
Area now. Cauterize it with the hemostatic forceps.
Hemostasis has been completed. Let's move on to the next treatment.
Well, I perforated this kid's bowels and he will most likely bleed out.
Vitals seem low. We should do something about that.
Acids will leak out into his organs and he will go into septic shock. Well, I'm a bad surgeon. I mean, that's what would happen if this were real life, so I'm so glad that it's not. Because I am really rusty right now.
The vitals have been recovered. Let's continue with the procedure. It's an ulcer. Let's treat it by injecting medicine.
Okay, I still got that equipped. Is that here? Or... yes, okay. Medicine Z, do not inject across the line, okay?
Alright, first ulcer's been treated. Watch the amount of medicine you use.
It seems there are more affected areas.
I didn't inject past the line. I mean, maybe I might have accidentally released too soon, but what the hell? Okay.
Here's an ulcer. Let's inject it with alginate solution.
Alright, we're done treating the ulcers.
That was good. Okay.
Carelessness is our greatest enemy. Some ulcers cannot be found visually.
Huh? What are we supposed to do then?
Ultrasound, perhaps?
We'll be using a spray to cause those ulcers to change color. Please remember all that, alright?
Oh, so you're going to be using, I forgot the name of it.
Let's see.
But yeah.
For example, I'm going to mark an area that looks suspicious. Let's try the coloring spray on it.
Okay. Let's see if I can figure this out.
There's that ulcer. Okay, inject the medicine.
The ulcers have been treated. Let's move on to the next step.
Which is...
Hey, you're gonna hurt the patient.
Hey man, I'm trying. I'm really rusty right now. Like, I'm sorry.
We've reached the stomach. Time the cardiac sphincter's movement and move on.
Wait, what?
The affected areas are concentrated around here. Let's treat them one at a time.
Okay, I see some there. I see some there. Wait. Ah, yes, this. This right here is why I hate endoscopic. I don't do underwater, I don't do dark places. I'm not a fan of horror movies. I mean, like, I am, but not like when they're like this.
Alright, let's use it.
Seems there is, yes.
Okay, let's begin the treatment.
The blood pool has been removed. Let's continue the treatment. Hemorrhaging is present.
Hey, we're in injection range. Jam it right in there.
Not good news, Maria, considering who is doing the operation right now.
It's not completely cauterized yet. It's not quite done there. Use the forceps. Hey, you're cauterizing that area too much. Come on, get a grip. Whoa,
there's still blood here. The patient isn't stabilizing. Let's use the spray to search for more problems.
There's an ulcer here, too. I guess it is important to search around for them.
Procedure complete. Well done, everyone.
Whew! Using that thing takes a real light touch.
All one needs is the resolve to stay calm.
Staying calm? That's the part that tires me out the most.
Yeah, agreed, Maria. Yeah, I fully expect a COD. Really?
Well done. It ended safely.
Thank you for your support, Maria. You were quite helpful.
Hey, don't be so formal. Friends help each other out.
Yikes. That piece is not good. But, yeah, I think, we're gonna see the end credits of this, and then I'm gonna end it here.
Tube has been removed. Vitals are good.
Blood pressure normal. No abnormalities detected.
Operation complete. I'm sure Joshua will make a full recovery.
Way to go! Ah! It went perfectly. That's our chamoy.
Thank you. Your support was valuable too, Maria.
I didn't do all that much. Oh, I need to contact his mom.
Indeed. Don't forget to tell Dr. Cunningham, too.
Man, parents always worry about their kids. Even the people from my orphanage bug me whenever I see them. Always ask me when I'm getting married, stuff like that.
I see.
Did I just say something I shouldn't have?
Oh, no. My mother died when I was young.
Oh, but, your dad's still alive, right?
As to my father, I had a fight with him when I left Japan.
Oh. Jeez. Sorry. I don't know when to shut up.
Oh, no, it's not your fault at all, Maria.
Okay. Anyway, I'm sure your dad's wishing you the best. I mean, you are the best endoscopic surgeon in America.
The best? Thank you, Maria.
No problem. Come on, let's go get our grub on.
Oh, doctor, I want to go too.
Hey, you have reports to write up. It's my turn today.
What, you guys want in? All right, this night's on me, so drink up. Woohoo!
Alrighty. I'm moving to big stuff next video. So thank you all for watching. Have a good whatever time of day it is for you. So bye.